Howdy folks, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to start making a new pen and you get to watch. So check it out. I have here a pen kit and this was inside but I took it out. We're going to be working on the Gatsby pen. It's a twist pen with gold trim, and if you look at the pieces here, it's got black in there with some gold. And the blank that I'm using is Indian Ebony. So I'll pull this out because the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out what size drill bit you need. And it says right here, 27/64. And the first step in making a pen is getting your blank drilled out. So you get your little handy dandy drill bits here. And you're going to find 27/64. Which I should have marked. Nope, that's 3/8. Here we go. 27/64. And the reason that you do this is because you have to drill. That clearly is not it. It's got to be the one that's behind it. Your drill bit should not fit through your tube because the drill bit is going to drill through your blank. And this tube's got to be able to fit in there, so therefore your drill bit needs to be bigger than the tube. Unless I'm just reading this wrong, it might be the one that's actually behind it. Alright, there we go, that's about it. So we're going to go drill this one out, and then we'll test fit it and do the next steps. Pause. Alright, your next step in drilling this out is you got to find the center point of your blank. So I always just take a flat edge and you line it up on the corners here, mark your line that runs straight across, and then do the opposite side the same, because this will give you the center of the blank. It may not be dead accurate, but it's pretty close. And what I do to mark this out is you can take a punch. Actually, I think I have some right here. There we go. But I also weld, and I have some tungstens, which are basically a really sharp arrow. And I use those just to kind of punch my center line out there. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this down here and use my, actually something heavy. Here we go. This is something I welded. That'll work. It's just to put a mark in there. Oops, dropped it but caught it. Man, got them hands, bruh. Alright, let's put that there. Punch. There, now I have a starting point. Alright, so we'll put that back to the side, put this little punch over here out of my way. And here I have a vise. This is a pin vise and press 2-in-1 combo. So we're going to zoom this in. And what I'm going to do is put this blank inside of here. What is that? That's weird. Okay, whatever. And now that I have that started, when I go to press down, that'll line up in there. So you're supposed to use brad point drill bits, which are like these, and they have this little bitty sharp piece up here. It's like a point, and what it does will easily find that hole. But I have these. They have some that are kind of like not as pointed. But if you look at the shape, that V should find this center hole pretty easily. But technically speaking, you're supposed to use those. But I think this is good enough. And I got my drill bit too far out, so I need to push it back up. Well, I'm going to have to really get it up in there. This sucks. This ain't going to work. Oh, man. I'll have to figure out something else. because you see that it's almost bottomed out too. Let me see if I can get it in there a little bit more and then just move it out as I need it. Just tighten down. It's being a little difficult. That's as far as that goes down. And it's still too tall. Alright, well, I just need that. Gosh, I don't want to mess it up because I don't have a lot of extra space, margin for error. And that's as far as it'd go. I wish I could turn the head on this so that way it gets off of the base. If that were the case, I could probably do this. Alright, let me figure this out and I'll come back on the video once I'm ready to drill. Okay, since I was in the Army, I'm going to improvise. I've always been taught to improvise, make it work, but try to be safe as possible doing it. So I found some C-channel clamps, C-clamps, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold the clamps, and we're going to drill this out. So let's take a look. I'm just going to try to hold it as still as possible and drill this bad boy. Gotta get it going first. So the hard part is not having a vise. It's already like kind of walking off sideways. I don't want it. Right there, I'm not sure if it's even perpendicular. I'm just gonna do my best. Come on now. Oh, come on. That came out. Hold on a sec. Alright. Sorry, that loosened up. It's really tight now. Let's try again. Move my hands back. I need to try to hold it still, though. It's the hardest part. I need a better drill. There we go. Thing is, I just need to make sure it stays as centered as possible. Here we go. Sucks without a vise. Alright, so what happened there is I bottomed out as far as this will let me travel. So I actually got to raise it up some. What I'll do is always put a block under it, but I got to get it in there first. So I'm just going to put the blank inside the drill, raise it up some, give me a clearance down here, and then I can push it back down. And now that should drill through the blank and into this wood. And I'm okay. This is a sacrificial piece of wood. Now I'm bottomed out again.
I don't know if it went through though. I didn't feel it punch through. No, we didn't get through. So we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to raise this up a little bit. So we're going to put this in here, because I know that it was just right there, bottomed out, and it didn't work. So I'll raise this a little bit, so I know it. That's why I say I need a new drill. I need something that's bigger. So if you want to buy me a drill, please do. I won't say no, and I love you forever and ever. But a taller drill with more travel than 2 inches would be amazing, because I'm just being an infantryman like the Army taught me, and improvising. Alright, now that I've lifted up, I should be able to get deeper in the blank now. So hold on. Alright, we made it. It's still too tall to get through. I know we're through because I saw it. Gotta run that down. Got down plate. Oh. That thing's blocking it. Hold on, let me get that. There we go. That took a little more longer than expected, but we have a hole. Now we have to test the hole. So in order to do that, we take our blank, I'm sorry, not our blank, our brass tube here, we stick it in the hole and make sure that it fits, and then we shake it. Dang, that thing slid in. Do you see it slide in? Hold on, let me take these clamps off. So you're supposed to put your fingers over them and you shake, and you should be able to feel this slightly moving back and forth on the inside. You can hear it. So I know that it's correct. Now, there was one thing I forgot to do prior to cutting this. If you look at the width of the blank and the brass tube, you see all this extra space over here and all this extra space? That's a no-go. It's a lot of trimming to do, so you're supposed to trim it first, and I forgot to do that. But it's okay, I can do it now and we'll be fine. So what you do is you kind of line up the very end of the tube with maybe an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch, and then you want to do the same measurement on this side. So I'm just going to mark it, because like if you look at the lead there, it's not up against it, so it's a little bit out. So we're going to make a line right there, and if you look at your lines, I got about an 1/8 inch or 1/16 of an inch from there, and from this edge as well. So this line here, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And I have my scroll saw right here to do that. And we're going to get that knocked out. Here's another blank from another pin I did. Alright. So, put this under there and carefully cut it out. Don't worry, I will not cut my finger. I'm going to get close, and then you can either just lightly push it or use something else to push into it. That way it doesn't cut your finger. There you go, and you're done. And then you have your blank. Now you can double check your measurement, make sure you didn't ruin it by taking your brass tube to make sure that it is still shorter than this, with a little bit of play on both ends. And if you looky there, There's a hair of space over here and a hair of space over here. So the next thing we do, we're going to glue this up, stick it inside there, and let it dry. And after it dries, then we will trim the barrel, and I'll show you how to do that as soon as this step is done. Okay, so these pin kits that come from Penn State Industries, they look like they're already scuffed up. They're not high gloss, shiny, like these. You see the difference? I believe they're already scratched up, but I like to go ahead and scratch it up anyway, because what you do, they look like they came across diagonally, so I'm just going to go the opposite direction. And you can see the scratch marks I'm leaving in there. So if they're coming like a barber pole or a candy cane, I go the other way to make them like a crosshatch pattern. So what this does is it creates these little bitty tiny channels, grooves inside the metal. So when you glue it up, you have a really good strong mechanical bond between the metal, that's this brass tube, and your blank, which we're using Indian ebony, so this would be wood, but same goes for the acrylic blanks too, which are basically kind of like a really hard plastic. With a good mechanical bond, you will be able to adhere both pieces together without coming apart. If you don't do this, you will not have a good mechanical bond. I mean, for sure, you can just put glue on this and throw it in there. It'll probably stick for a little bit until you get on the lathe. Once you get on the lathe, you hit it with the turning tool, I guarantee it's going to slip because that glue is going to break. But when the glue gets into the surface here, it really holds strong. So on a smooth surface like that, if you were to zoom in microscopically, the surface is real smooth. So you put glue on there, it's just going to slide around. But when you scrape it up like this and sand it down, you're creating that top layer, the surface, to have like grooves in it like this. So when you put glue in there, the glue goes down into these grooves, creating a very strong mechanical bond. So we got this. I don't know what I do with my blank. Where'd my blank go, baby? You can pause it if you need. You already started. Oops.
Oops, there's
we got a cameraman that don't know how to cameraman. Alright, so this is CA glue. It's just super glue. I do not have my fast stick activator, which you spray it on there and it like instantly dries in like 5 seconds, like no joke. I'm out of it, so we're just gonna have to let this dry on its own natural timing. Wait, put some glue up in here. Kind of smear it around. I use a lid, the nozzle, smear it. Actually, I forgot to do this. I usually use the cap to hold it so I don't get it all over my fingers. So I can get it on the end too. There we go. I'll get this side, then I'll rotate a little bit and get on that side. I mean, I literally drenched the whole thing. I'd rather have too much on there than not enough and it slip and break because there was no glue present. Rotate. Nice little dry area here. I'll take this. Now, if I don't get it completely covered, it's okay because when I go stick it in the wood, it like drips down in there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. And I always have wipes out here ready. So I take this, you stick, oh, it's already sticking to my finger. And kind of just go down in there. And I use this to push it down in just past the surface. All right. Once it's just past the surface, check the other side to make sure it's at least inside. And it is. It's not too far. But then you can actually take this out. And you come in from the other side. And what it does is gives you glue from both sides. But now you gotta kind of be quick, because glue's dripping all over the place, and I'm about to freaking stick my fingers together, because that always happens. Who has ever played with C8 glue and not got glue all over their fingers? I always gluing myself up. Anyway, so here we go. I'm just wiping off the excess so I don't have a chance to glue myself together. And then I wipe the lid off and my nozzle so they don't leave crusties and I get a hard cap. And then when you're done, if you look here, the brass is just inside the edge of the wood on both sides. There's about 1/8 to 1/16 of an, or 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch that's left. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let it dry, and you might see the edge of the glue leaking inside, and that's okay, because when we trim the barrel, there's a reamer that goes down in there that's going to clean this entire cylinder out. And there's two things that this does. Let me give you a little sample. It's on my drill. Where's my drill? Here we go. This is the wrong size for it, but you have the reamer here. That goes inside the tube. I've got to change sizes. And that cleans inside the tube all the glue out. But then on the end down here, perpendicular, it's called a trimmer. So what these edges here do is get up against the wood. And that is a perfect 90 degrees here. And as you're reaming, your 90 degree trims this down, and you're going to have a perfect 90 degree from your center of your tube to the edge, the face of this. So when you put it on the mandrel on the lathe, it is perfectly straight. You're not like wobbling like this, and it actually spins perfectly even like it's supposed to. But we have to wait for this step. I have to wait for this glue to dry. So we're going to let this dry, and I'll come back later and finish this at another time.